The Unorthodox Haven will cover a wide range of topics to offer unique perspectives, pushing back on conventional wisdom. We hope to inspire self-discovery over emulation. We believe you should think outside the box, regardless of what it looks or sounds like to others. Here at Unorthodox Haven, there is no right or wrong answer, just your own unique perspective.
Learning out here, it's not as complicated as people say it though.
Learning the what? What are you referring to?
Just living out here. Like how to live out here amongst the people, it's just not hard.
It's not hard. Yeah. I don't think it's hard. I think it's complicated for people.
If you don't do the basics.
Valid, but
if you don't do the basics.
But what when you say basics, what do you mean?
Work.
Okay.
Work.
That's one.
Work. That's the basic, bro.
That's the basic. Just work.
What do you have to have? Food, clothing, shelter. In that order.
Yep.
Food, clothing, shelter. Food, shelter, clothing. You can be naked in the house. Food, shelter, clothing.
Food, shelter, clothing. Yeah,
you have to have those three things.
Yes.
You can acquire food without working. You can take handouts.
See, I think a lot of people from my brain is that when you say, "Oh, you can get food without working," I'd be like, I don't really see how I can eat without, but outside of asking for a handout.
Right, and that's the thing. You're gonna be asking for handouts, and you're probably not gonna get the best of foods, and you're probably not gonna get things that are very nourishing.
Yes,
you're gonna get things that fill your belly.
So are you really getting food then?
Yeah, exactly. So you can get something to fill your stomach up, but you have to work, and you have to manage your money.
Now that is 1,000% right.
Most of us live so far outside of our means that we don't manage our money. Like we'll make money. You get a paycheck. Let's say you get a guy that comes out, he makes $500 a week. Mm-hmm. And that's not a lot of money.
No.
But if you take that $500 a week and them to after taxes, and the first thing you do is when you get paid, back it up. During the course of the week that you're working, you eat, you go out to eat for lunch every week, every day. 5 days a week. That's $10 a day. Cause I don't know where you're going at below $10 a buck, man, a day. So $10 a day times 5, that's $50 from your check. That's $450. Then you're down to $450. That's just on eating takeout food or fast food during the course of the week instead of making your lunch.
That's only one meal a day.
That's only one meal a day. So we didn't do breakfast, lunch, dinner. So that's just one meal a day, normally at lunchtime at work. So you take that away. Then let's take away gas. Now you have a commute. If you have a 20, 30-minute commute, you're going to pay about $50, depending on what kind of car you got. Let's say $40, $50 a week. That's $200 a month right there. So that takes you down 800 minus 50. You're about $750 left of your money now. So we got to pay rent.
Yep.
So all these bills that you have there, you have to pay your rent, lights. Whatever household needs you need, toilet tissue, what may have you. And that's if it's only you. You have a child in there, you blew the budget.
Totally different. So all right. So I feel like what you're speaking to is financial literacy, you know what I'm saying, within our community. That's something that got to be taught. And from my perspective, I feel like we don't even have the tools. I think we're just getting the tools now to have a solid footing, because before, you think about our grandparents, they had so much oppression on their back to stop them from learning and then keep them down, you know what I mean, to keep them in a position to where they don't know anything. You know what I mean, even with freedom, we can go ahead, you can do everything like that, but if you financially illiterate, it doesn't even really matter. If you can go ahead and get money, but you don't know how to save it or you know what I mean, balance it out, you end up broke just like the next man that's probably making way less than you. You get what I'm saying? The same scenario you laid out for me.
But you hit it right there. You can take, if we don't live within our means. One thing I think our grandparents had is they knew how to save. They knew how to spend cash. So they give us credit card. You get a credit card like I have $1,000 free dollars. No, you don't. You got $1,000 given to you in advance, and you're going to pay that back with interest.
But even that, the credit game is how a lot of the other culture wins, because they know how to play the game. We, like you said, we don't get the credit card. We don't understand the value of using someone else's money to come up. And I don't want to say white people, but other cultures have figured out that part of it.
Right. Again, okay, I had a lady come in one day. She came in to pay her son's retainer. and she said she had $3,000 in cash in her bank account, and she had a $3,000 limit on her credit card.
Okay.
And she asked me how to pay it. I said, how about you do this right here? You have the $3,000 you're about to pay in cash. Well, she owed $2,000 in cash. I said, you have the $2,000 right here in cash. Pay this bill. Pay your son's return with your credit card. She's like, why would I have the money to send it? Pay it with your credit card. And take that same $2,000 that you have and pay it right back to your credit card. It's going to raise your credit score. I said that I don't believe in this. I hate credit. It's predatory. It's destructive. But because we live in a world where literally some jobs won't hire you, you have a bad credit score. Yeah. If you want to go get housing, unless you have cash money to go purchase a home, then more likely you're going to have to get a credit check.
Yeah, you have to get in the system.
So you're in a system right now where like so much is dependent upon your credit score. So you have to learn how to utilize that system. That being said, aside from that, even if you get a good credit score and you get the opportunity to get a credit card or you get a chance to get a mortgage on a house, you still have to know how to spend your money.
Exactly.
Account for it. How do you go get a paycheck? Come the end of the month, your money is gone. Yep. And you're saying, I don't know what happened. How can you not know what happened to your money? It went somewhere. Money did not come into your bank and then leave out of your bank by osmosis. It went somewhere. You spend it on something. So we don't take those lessons. Yep. Back up again. But you still have to work to get money, to have a paycheck, to put money in the bank. And then being frugal. Really being frugal. Watching how we spend our money to where we're not enriching everyone but ourselves. We become labor junkies. Now, that don't mean go buy cheap-ass clothes, because you buy cheap stuff, you're going to have to replace it soon. Fact. Quality merchandise at bargain prices. Shop around for the clearance sales. People have them all the time.
I agree. The only pushback I got to that is that when I was younger, I blew a lot of money. But to my defense, I didn't blow it on material things. I blew it on life. Like it was nothing for me to catch a plane over here and go do this, or go to this nice restaurant, not worry about not worry about the bill. I just worried about, listen, as long as I'm here experiencing this, I'm good. So I would blow money on experiences. Now, I will say that now I look back on it, I find so much value in that. So much value that I blew that. What I was not really blow the money, you know what I mean? But I feel like I blew it correct, you know what I mean? And even though I didn't save it, I didn't put it in, you know what I mean, do anything more, I could have did a lot of different things with that money, probably a lot more positive things. But at the same time, I would have never had the opportunity to live or experience those things. And I think that for me, based on my travels, that the value of seeing the world through different lenses is really what makes us get it. You know,
how many countries have you been to?
I don't even count.
Wow.
But I've been but me, I'm a serial traveler. So when I go places, I'm going to everywhere around there. I want to see what's over here. We close to a border somewhere. Let's go over the border and just see what it's like over there.
I don't think you blew your money.
Yeah, but some would say that if I didn't save it or I didn't do whatever.
That's your path, though. See, my path may be to try to buy a house from here and live the so-called American dream. But your path to be as cultured as you are, to know what you know, to be doing what you're doing right here now today. Did you have children?
No, I have children until I did most of my traveling. I had my daughter until I was 26.
So you weren't neglecting your responsibilities.
Nope.
You were single.
Yep.
Traveling. Your responsibilities were to yourself at that time. Yeah. I got married the first time at 19 years old. I had my first child at 20. Okay. So I wanted to be married though. I didn't want to travel. Dude, I had been nowhere. I've never left the stateside. Even when I was in the service.
What was the reason for you want to get married? Like, what was the draw?
I watched my mom be abused by my sister's dad when I was small. Okay. I watched my mom eventually develop a drug habit and get hooked on crack. Didn't want her boyfriends. But I remember before she got hooked on drugs, my mom was let me say, she was mom and dad. Okay. My mother made sure that even when we had a little bit, our clothes, it was always clean. Yeah. We were always presentable, and I was always taught to make sure I looked like someone. But I watched my mother struggle. So I would determine that if I ever had a chance, I would make sure the woman I fell in love with would never have to live and struggle like my mom did. Now here, the backside of that was when I first got married, my ex-wife, man, she was cleaning the dishes one day, and I went and got a dishwasher because I didn't like my wife. She was pregnant. I didn't want her washing dishes. Yeah. One day she was sweeping the rug. I went and got a vacuum cleaner. Yeah. So she wouldn't have to sweep the rug. What? One day, this camera broke the camera back. She was cleaning the vanity mirror, the mirror in our vanity in the master bedroom, and she had the Windex. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, what? I'm like, yo, give me that. It has ammonia in it.
Yeah.
Well, bro, let me tell you something. I thought I was doing the right thing. No, I was pissing her off.
Controlling?
No, I wasn't trying to control her. She said it stressed her because I didn't let her do what she wanted to do, and I treated her like she was fragile. My defense was, I'm making sure that you don't have to go through this stuff. Like, my mom didn't have all these things. The minutes I'm trying to make sure that you have.
Yeah.
That didn't work because she was not receptive to what I was trying to give her. But my perspective was, I was trying to give you this thing. Like, to this day, I suffer with that to this day. Like, my wife now, man, like, dude, like, sometimes I get in her way.
Yeah.
Like I get in her way, man. Like I have to get out of her way sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I don't like my wife having to wash dishes. I don't like my wife having to vacuum, shampoo the carpets. I don't want my wife doing anything. Pardon me 1 second. I don't want my wife doing anything that's going to stress her out or make her life harder. Let me just tell this guy to call me back. Excuse me. Hello?
This is an important message from GTO about calls from an offender at a correctional facility. Para escuchar este mensaje en español,
Just about to put my name under this.
An offender at a correctional facility attempted to make a collect call to this number, but the call could not be completed due to billing restrictions. If you wish to receive these...
Okay. Those guys know better than that.
Stay working.
You have to. Listen, man, my wife, only time I put this thing down, man, my wife like to cut the phone off at night. That's it.
Yeah. Besides that,
but now I send it to my messaging service.
Okay.
So like even to this day, I get in my wife's way, trying to be that Superman for my wife. Sometimes she's like, Donell, like, can you please sit down?
Yeah.
Like really, but I come home work exhausted, man, and I'm coming home like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm about to cook tonight. What do you want to do? I'm about to cook. I'm like, I got it. It's like, do you know how I want my beans? I'm like, with syrup. Well, how much put in there?
Yeah.
I said, you know what? You go ahead and cook them. Cause that's what she wanted me to get out of her way.
For sure.
But that's why I got married early because I'm a family man.
Okay.
I like to be married. I like to have a home to come home to. I like the responsibility of having to keep myself in check.
Okay.
You know, we as men, we can get loose with our private parts, man. We get loose with our private part. We find ourselves in too many things.
Yep.
So I like the responsibility, the accountability.
Okay.
Of being married.
Okay. So that made me think of I was just talking to Lo earlier. He went to the store. He should be back in a little while. But I was talking to him about his relationship with him and his father, and we had the conversation about how the generation gaps or the real things that happen that play a part in who we are. Because he had mentioned, he was like, my dad wasn't around until a certain age. He's like, but I was good because I ain't need for nothing. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, can't say he was good if you ain't have your father around. You know what I mean? Then I asked him, like, did you have a fatherly figure around at least? And the man that he mentioned wasn't the best character.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I had to tell him, like, well, it definitely affected you and made, affected who you are based on how you grew up. If you grew up seeing your mom or whoever struggle, it makes you, it affects you. It affects you when you get older. Same way, you know what I mean? You seeing your mom that way, it affected your decision to get married. Yes. It affected your why to getting married and all that. And the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of us, we have these things that happen in our lives and we never like really take a time to like unpack them and be like, I'm like this because of this. Because I think if you do that, you can open up a Pandora's box and kind of understand more about yourself. And like you said, get out the other person's way. Because the same thing for me. I'm a fixer. So when someone tells me something, I try to give them a fix. You know what I mean? But I have to realize that everybody don't want to hear a fix. That's not why they bring in the issue to you. They might just need to hear themselves say it out loud, just decompress to get it out, you know what I mean? And that's all they want. They're not looking for an answer in that moment, you know what I mean? And it took a long time for me to realize that. And I would get mad at people.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? Like I would get mad because I feel like I'm trying to help you.
Yeah,
why are you tripping on me if I'm trying to help you? You know what I mean? And it would be this big conversation. And it took me a long time to get my head wrapped around it. It's like, yo, they don't want that. You gotta, you know what I mean? Same way if when I come to somebody, I'm usually really specific about what I ask them based on what I want from them. You know what I mean? Hey, give me your opinion on this thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or, hey, look at this and just You know what I mean? I'm just sending this for you to check it out. I ain't looking for your opinion.
Right.
And I'll say that. You know what I mean? Just because I don't want you to give me your opinion if I ain't looking for it. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't set them boundaries and be like, yo, I'm not looking for an answer when I tell you this.
Right.
They just tell you. And my natural reaction would be like, well, you can do this or you can do that. And I get, you know what I mean? Yo, I know I be coming in here decompressing and all that, but I'm not looking for an answer. I'm just looking to decompress.
Well, we got that in common, bro.
You know what I mean?
We have that in common.
So the flip side of it is the thing that I compartmentalize it as, I was like, damn, like now I feel like I'm holding myself back. Mm-hmm. Now I feel like I got to change who I am to appease you. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I'm giving you negative energy, I can understand that.
Right.
But if I'm giving you positive energy or a way to alleviate whatever this thing is stressing you out, you shouldn't look at me like that. You know what I'm saying?
It's like I swear it's like you just picked my life. Like you just explained my life right now. I'm sitting here like in awe because I have the same problem, man. Yeah. With my wife, I have the same problem. Mm-hmm. I want to fix whatever she comes home from work. Mm-hmm. My wife's a sheriff there, but when she comes home, she tells me something, I immediately go into solution mode. Mm-hmm. So one day, I finally asked her, so I'm like, why are you sitting with an attitude? You told me what's going on. I'm trying to give you a solution. Like, Donell, did you ever think about I don't want you to give me an answer? So then my next question, but why did you tell me then? Mm-hmm. Why would you tell me? Like, and I like to find tangible solutions. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't like to do these big dreams for tomorrow. And like, no. What are we going to do today? Yep. If you have this problem right here, I'm not going to talk about we're just going to pray about it. Okay, we can pray about it. Then what are we going to do about it? Exactly. I need tangible answers to things that are before us that are causing us complication. Let's find a way to resolve it. Mm-hmm. That makes me good at my job, but sometimes that makes me a bad husband. Yes. It just, anybody that you love and you interact with like that, if you do that to them and that's not what they want, it could cause that unnecessary tension or separation, you know what I mean? So I go through that and I try to like unpack why am I like that? Like why am I so, you know what I mean, answer driven? Like why do I feel like I need to figure it out? You know what I mean? And I think it's the only thing I can kind of tap into is that as a kid, I spent a lot of time alone. Mm-hmm. And so I had to figure things out myself. Uh-huh. Like there was nobody. My older brother outside, my older sister outside. Uh-huh. My mom's working 2 jobs. Are you the baby?
Yeah, I'm the youngest. So I'm just around by myself, and I just had to figure it out. You know what I mean? And that's how I kept myself busy, figuring out, how to build things, how to take things apart, how to put it back together, just to occupy my time. You know what I mean? And I think that trickled over to me being such a problem solver. I'm like, I want to fix everything. You know what I mean? Because I go back to my childhood. I would take a CD player would start working. Mm-hmm. And I would do everything I could do to take it apart and look at every single part and try to figure out what's wrong with it or where's the error going wrong and then try to put it back together and try to see if it works. And I got excitement out of that. Right. And I think that trickled over into how I am today. I'm just so task-oriented. When you tell me something, try to give you an answer. Or how can we fix it? Or what can we do? What tangible things can we do to fix this? Or, you know what I mean? So we can rid this issue. You know what I mean? Because stress is a killer. I compartmentalize in my head, like, this is why I'm doing this. Stress will kill you, so we got to figure out how to handle the stress. And I'm just here to help you. You know what I mean? I'm just here to help you, but,
But what happens when you run into someone like you? Like, when you go to someone and you say, look, man, this is what's going on. And you just turn to, but you said you're very specific when you ask questions. Mm-hmm. But what about those times when you just kind of like talk to your guys about like something that's...
I think I give in more. Me personally, I give in because I immediately think that whatever you're telling me, it might be some value to it. Okay. I mean, let me hear what you got to say first. Okay. Let me. I'm gonna let you get your shit off, and then whenever you finish, I might be like, you know what I mean? I just chuck it away and just keep on my thought process. Me, I'm not that kind of person to get offended or get like put off. You know what I mean? When someone tries to give me advice, you know what I mean? I just listen to them, and if it's trash, I might tell you like. I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? Then we can have a conversation about it. We can have a conversation about it, but it doesn't offend me. But other people it does. So, I don't know. I just take it for what it is.
My thing is, I don't let everybody speak into my life. Like everyone, I don't care like who you are. Like if you heard about a situation I'm going through and you come to me and you can't like, bro, we're not having that conversation.
Yeah, you don't know all the intricacies.
No, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. See, but do you think that's a flaw? Do you think that's a
no?
Do you think they might? What if they got some good advice?
It's a value system. How we perceive someone determine what we'll receive from them. If I see someone as being unworthy of talking about into my life about anything, we're not having a discussion about nothing in my life.
Okay.
Because that means that there's something about you that I don't value enough to, because I don't want something you to say to be so crazy as hell that it sticks in my head. And one day I remember that, wait a minute, I don't remember, I heard such and such and such, but I don't remember where it came from.
Yeah, I got you.
Like in Islam is like that. Like we have to be very careful who we take from. The first thing you put to ask somebody in the deen of Islam is, who do you take from? Where did you get that from?
Yeah.
Because if you look at all the various religions, things like in Islam, it has to be traced back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said it. There must be an unbroken chain of narrations, and no one in that chain of narration can be known as being a liar, untruthful, deceitful, anything of that nature, or the chain becomes unacceptable.
Yeah, for sure.
So why would we not be like that in our own lives? If you know that a person is known for abusing women, defrauding women, just taking advantage of women, and you're having a problem with your wife. Now, this guy might have no other flaw other than he just treats women like dirt. And you're having an issue with your wife, your woman, and everybody's sitting around and he hears about the issue like, man, let me tell you how to handle the situation.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah.
No. And he may very well have some good information.
But wrong messenger.
I'm not gonna try to filter if what he's saying is good or if it's just part of his game that he runs. So I would disregard him altogether, especially on that subject. Now maybe other things that we can talk about. Then there are people who they always have something good to say. They always have something edifying. It's like, yo, that you seek them out. Look, can I tell you about this? Because you really, really want to hear what they say about this situation.
Yeah, I got you.
Those are the people we hold close to our heart. Their opinions matter.
Yep.
And they can admonish us about something, man. Like, and it can be simple, like, man, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
We heartbroken. Like, man, you know, man, but I'm saying like you was wrong. And they'll leave it at that right there. And we will feel as if the whole world came down upon us because that person that we value so much, we perceive them as being someone who is always looking out for our best interest.
Yeah.
Even if it goes against what we want to do at the moment. So we value what they have to say and we take it in. So I'm very, very careful about who speaks into my life.
Yeah, I agree.
Very much so.
I relate to it through photography.
Okay.
I'm the same way with photography when I don't go pull inspiration, especially in the beginning for like my first 4 or 5 years of photography. I didn't look at nobody else's work. I didn't want to be influenced by anybody else. I didn't want an idea pop up in my brain and I'm thinking it is original, but it's really because I seen it done somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't consume nobody else's photography. I would just only look at my stuff. Anything else I looked visual was totally different than what I was doing. You know what I mean? It was either some TV stuff or whatever, and my photos. You know what I mean? That way I could look at it and figure out different ways to crop it or different ways to edit it or play around with it and just work on my craft. I didn't want to be influenced by anybody else. I want my style to be like, oh, you shoot like such and such. No. I want my, and mainly it's for me. Anybody else, because anybody else can see this and be like, you probably know 5 photographers that take photos, something similar to that, or similar to this, or whatever. You probably can find some similarities in all my work with somebody else's. But for me, I know that this came out of my mind.
Right.
This came out of me just exploring the place, finding something, seeing it, and then figuring out how to photograph it and capture that moment. And that's it.
I know the kind of reverse role. What made you take your first picture that you can recall?
Yes. So I moved to Charleston, South Carolina. I was in North Carolina. My daughter was born in North Carolina. So my daughter was, brand new baby, you know what I mean, a couple months old. And then I moved to South Carolina. Had been dibbling in music and all that stuff before. I had been making beats, but I never really took it serious. You know what I mean? I even record people. My next door neighbor, he was in the music. I learned how to record, learn that stuff. But anyway, I made a promise to myself when I moved to South Carolina, I was going to get serious about music. I was like, I'm going to give it a real shot. Like, you know what I mean? Try to put myself out there. So I did. And long story short, that ended up landing me a job at a studio. I was a sole engineer. I got to help design the studio, the whole nine. So I landed a good little gig. I was still working, still had a 9-to-5 job, but I would go from there to there, boom, back. And after I did it for a while, I was like, man, I got to come up with something to represent what I'm doing, something like branding. So I got a guy, told me about clothing and all that. I ended up finding a graphic designer, got that made. And there was a guy that always came to the studio, always had a camera. So I told him, I said, hey, bro, can you, I need you to do photos, and I'm going to get these shirts made, X, Y, Z. And I was like, I want to use you as my photographer all the time. I can pay you nothing. It's cool. You know what I mean? And he was like, cool, set it up and everything. And he came through one time with the camera. But then after that, just a bunch of unreliable moments. You know what I'm saying? And I'm the kind of person that if you ain't gonna do it, I'm with a camera. Somebody give me a camera, I'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? I just do it myself. And that's exactly what happened. I figured out. I asked around. Hey, how did he get a camera? How did he get all that camera equipment? Oh, he went to the Art Institute downtown. Rode down there. Went to the office. Hey, what I gotta do to come here? And what do I get? They explained it to me. Let me sign up. Signed up. First day in class. They had access to all the cameras, equipment, and everything. Went there and checked out a whole bunch of stuff that I ain't know how to use none of it. And just figured it out. And it was really only, my goal was like, I'm gonna do this for like 2 months. I'm gonna find somebody at the school that's good at photography, and I'm gonna hire them.
Right.
And I started picking up the camera, and me turning into learning the camera, I just walked around with it everywhere. I would take pictures of walls and rocks and whatever I could find, anything. And just to go back to the home and just look at it, analyze it. Oh, I don't like how I took this, and try to figure that out. And then I fell in love with it, man.
Ever any formal training?
Yes. So when I went to the Art Institute, so when I initially went there, I knew I wanted to do photography for the branding. So I was like, I'm not gonna go here for photography because I feel like I got the camera here. I'm gonna learn a different task. So I went for video. Okay. So they started teaching me how to shoot films and lighting about film and all that stuff like that. Again, my whole intention for going there was not to do any of this. I ain't never been no creative. When it comes to visuals, my whole goal was to find somebody else. Find somebody to fit this spot, and that was it. But honestly, man, the reason why I stuck with the camera, it became therapeutic for me. Because I would take it, I put my headphones in, put my music in, and I would go just play with the camera. You know what I mean? And I started learning that it gave me time to think, process my thoughts, and then I could tune the rest of the world out for an hour or two. I can just walk around, and it was just super therapeutic, so I kept doing it. Right. And then after that, the music thing slowly kind of dissolved because of some business issues. And yeah, man, I never put the camera down.
Wow. It still reminds me of mine, this opposite side of the track. Like, people ask me, how did you become good at the law? First of all, I'm okay. I'm okay. You know, I tell you I'm okay. I'm real good at some things. I'm learning some others. I'm great at some things. But I learned because it was therapeutic. Yeah. I have read thousands and thousands of case laws. You can't help but pick up something. Yeah. There aren't many things you can talk to me about the law that I don't know a case to send you to, or I can go grab the case to send you to. And I began to utilize it in court, actually in court, and to start having some success. That was for myself, my own case. Eventually I get to the point where guys like, hey man, I heard that you were good with the law. I'm like, yeah, not really, but maybe I could assist you. Yeah. Then you start assisting guys, you start helping guys to find answers. And like, wow, okay, I like this. I like being the person that people come to for questions. With their questions. I like the accountability of helping someone and then giving them the best of yourself to actually try to help them find an answer or point them in the right direction. So here, 20 odd years later, I work in a law firm in Portsmouth, and I do a lot of the grunt work in the office. I do a lot of grunt work.
When you say grunt work, like what? What does that consist of?
I work files, man. Okay. Like no one is like, hey Donnie, hey, what is your opinion on this legal theory or this legal issue right here? Give me a compelling legal theory to argue right here. I'm not doing that stuff right now. Okay. Right now I'm doing like the paper pushing stuff, man. Like I'm writing. I'm doing the grunt work. Okay. Suffice to say, I do the grunt work in the office. Okay. I love it. Okay. I told my boss today. No, I told him yesterday. I said, you're a teacher. He told me, like, don't get offended if I raise my voice at you. I said, it's all right. You're a teacher. I said, my lesson right here, I said, I don't have the luxury to be offended. I said, you're not being disrespectful. I said, it's a small office, so it is what it is. I said, but right now I'm in student mode. So I absorb like a sponge. Yeah. I have learned so much about simply putting a file together. Because in the system, you're not putting files together, but to put a file together piece by piece, a file has so many different moving parts to it that what determines the outcome of a case is not what you see in the courtroom. That's like the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. It's what goes on behind the scenes in the firm. So that therapy that I had when I was in prison for 20 odd years, that therapy now is I'm getting back to it because I'm able to go back and absorb again. And I'm learning parts of law. Like I do things now, like I offer my clients in my paralegal service, I offer my clients services that I didn't know how to do when I was on the inside. Okay. Because I've been reading different things, studying. Yeah. I don't do what my boss does in the firm, but parts of law that he doesn't practice, I contract out with other attorneys around the state. Okay. I'm doing work down in Georgia right now with parole hearings. But it's therapeutic. For me, it's still that same therapy I got when I was on inside because when I read.
Is it the learning? Is it therapeutic, or is it the applying what you learned?
It's both. It's both for me. I like to win. Like I hate, man. I hate to lose. I hate to lose when I can help it.
I understand.
Now, when it's inevitable, then it's inevitable. It's just not going to happen. But when I can win, if I apply myself, if I take the time to put the hours in to study and go find that one controlling case law, that when I give it back to the court say, "Oh, well, yeah, we did say that," and that does apply to this case, and the law does require this outcome, and we will act in the way in which you've asked the court to act. That right there is fulfilling. And when someone else's life is on the line, when I got somebody, mom, sister, brother, cousin, daughter, son, calling me, crying, thanking me for the work that I've done on their behalf, that's when the reward comes in.
Dope.
You know, that's when you get the tangible reward right here. I like the reward.
Yep.
If you say, "Oh, I do it for nothing," oh, I want something out of this, man. I don't do the work I do for nothing.
Yeah.
I like being thanked. I like doing something so good for someone that the outcome is favorable to them and they say thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not the ultimate end, but it's a blessing to be thanked versus being cursed out because you did a bad job.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I don't when it comes to photography, man, when it comes to photography, like honestly, the thing that I don't even want people to be thankful. Like the thing that I care about the most when it comes to photography, if the person looks at whatever I produce and they ask me, "You did this?" Like for me, that's that small thing
like
right
these
there.
Pictures right here, like, yo, you did these?
That's the best thing someone can say to me when they look at my photography.
I think we don't expect so much to come from each other sometimes.
Yes.
As black men, like, bro, we kind of expect the worst from each other.
Yes, we do.
We kind of expect shoddy work. And it's sometimes like, I'm going to tell you how to say this right here. I dress on a suit and tie almost every day. I tell my wife, like, I joke about this, but I go to work, I dress like a model every day I go to work. I'm clean, bro.
What?
When I walk into places, no one knows who I am. I go into district attorney's offices. I go to courthouses. I do this weekly. I get welcomed with arms wide open because people treat me how they perceive me. Here's a black man, button down, suit, tie, jacket. He's clean.
Yep.
That's all they see. So they would expect me to come in there and bring the document that I bring in. If I were to dress in any other kind of way, I may get stopped at the door or looked at differently. So how we carry ourselves, how we dress, how we present, is largely determinative of how people, or what people expect from us.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me give an example. I have a guy that's talked to today, Jason Pulley, man. This is one of my guys, man. Jason had a case out of Chester, Virginia, and Dinwiddie, bank robbery cases. In Chester, he said, "Listen, I did it. Just give me a plea bargain. I will waive my right. I will waive my right to a preliminary hearing. Give me a plea bargain for 5 years." They agreed. Okay. They charged him out in Dinwiddie, and they wound up, he got it, was supposed to with him, testified against me, said, "I didn't do that." He's lying. He went to trial, beat it. Beat trial. Jury trial. Came back to Chester. They said, "Yeah, we're not giving the plea bargain." But he had already waived this preliminary hearing. They gave him 25 years.
That's heavy.
I just talked to him right before I came here. These are the guys that motivate me to do what I do. I have a guy named Lester Lynch. I love this brother, man. He's a Christian dude. I love him. I met him through his co-defendant, one of my Muslim brothers, Tariq Williams. And the brother went to trial 3 times for murder. You hear what I said? 3 times for one murder. 2 hung juries. Witnesses never described this dude and put him at the scene, not one time. These witnesses from trial 1 until the 3rd trial, if you could have seen how their testimony changed, your jaw would drop. And it breaks my heart that he's still there because he didn't do it. You can't run shit to me, bro. Like, I'll beat you down worse than the prosecutor.
Yeah.
My ability to break a case down and analyze it and call you a bald-faced liar in your face, I'm cold-hearted. Like, I'm cold when it comes to that. You're not going to make me look stupid.
Yeah.
I break cases down. I'm telling this, I do research, man. That's how I got my job. Because I'm good at breaking cases down. Okay. This brother didn't commit this murder. And they knew he didn't do it. They offered him a deal to testify against someone else. He wouldn't take it.
Yo, why is our system like that, though? Why is this thing that we call justice is so, it's not, there's no such thing as like even the law, like even when, you hear a prosecutor can choose not to pursue a case, even if they're aware, hey, this crime come across your table, and we're not going to pursue this because we don't, what I'm saying? Like, even it can stop right there. It can be no pursuing of this crime whatsoever, just by that one person saying, nah. That's not justice. That's not what kind of system is that? You know what I mean?
I'm gonna give you the brother Lester Lynch I was just talking about. He has a detective, Robert Ford, was on this case. Robert Ford just did 12 years in federal prison. This dudes were paying him to go to court. He'd come to your court and tell the judge, yeah, this guy's helping me, give me information on a murder case over here in Norfolk. He's a very vital informant. We need him out here. Judge was letting guys off with nothing. Yeah. He finally got caught doing it. He wound up doing 12 years in the feds.
That's crazy.
He's the head investigator on my guy's case. This guy was responsible for closing over 200 murder cases.
That's wild.
The Norfolk 4, remember those guys? They were accused of raping and killing a female. They were 4 sailors. They all pled guilty to having committed this crime, this rape and murder this young lady. Well, they eventually found the DNA was matched to another guy. He was a known rapist.
Okay.
He didn't have any association with these guys in any shape, form, or fashion. He admitted that he did it by himself. They finally all got out of prison. Ford was the head investigator on their case. This guy had investigative tactics that were, how any of his cases stand up in court right now today are a shock.
It was that bad?
I have several guys whose cases Fords were on. These guys don't know each other. I bet up at different institutions. Almost to the letter, Ford did the same thing on every one of their cases. They were either charged, first question about someone. They wouldn't cooperate, so they said, okay, I'll tell you what, you won't cooperate, then we just throw you in here as a defendant. And guys are like you can't do that. Yeah. Yes, you can. Because Ford kept junkies on his team that he utilized against guys. One of the guys in Lester and Tyreek's case testified that the judge asked him, was you under the influence? He actually told the judge that he was actually high on heroin right there on the stand. The judge asked him if he wanted to go lay down in his chambers and get a glass of water and then come back and testify. The guy said he pleaded the fifth. The judge said, you can't. He said, well, can I have a lawyer to plead the fifth? He's like, no, you can't. This all in transcripts. They still won't touch these cases.
That's wild. But why? Like, why? Like, what's...
Because we have politics. We have people that play politics with people's lives. Politics are serious.
That's great.
Right now, there are a lot of guys who are innocent. You have legally innocent and factually innocent. Legally innocent is you may have done it, but they don't have the evidence to prove it against you. Factually innocent, you just didn't do it.
Yeah.
We have guys who are sitting in our system who have been really ill-served by a system that's working just as it was designed to work. This system works perfectly. People say, the system is broken. Where is it broken at?
It works for what it was designed to do.
Exactly. So I tell people the first thing that we have to do as a people is stay the fuck out the system. Stop making these bad choices. Man, they tricked me up. No, they didn't. We made bad choices. We got involved in something and we caught the ass end of the stick.
Yep.
That's the reality. Then we have to start magnifying guys in the community that never got in trouble. Yes, let's talk about the guy that made it out, but let's talk about the guy that didn't go in the system to start with. What's cool and acceptable?
It's not entertaining though.
So we make it entertaining. We create our own entertainment streams. We they say stuff like alternative music, and they make it like a negative thing. Okay, we'll make alternative cool. We tell our people, listen, you all keep complaining over and over and over that the news continue to portray us in this negative light. So we're going to give you a source of the news directly from our own mouths. And then we're going to have some accountability. If you're out here terrorizing our neighbors, we're going to talk about it. If you're out here making sure that we're not safe in our own neighborhood, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, I get that, man. Yeah, that's deep, bro. That's like it's so layered. There's so many things that is running through my mind when you say all that, and yeah, it's just sad, bro. Like, cause I think a lot of these dudes that do that, they lost. They're not even aware. I'm pretty sure you can speak to that. That's something I want to talk to you about. Mm-hmm. Is that you get to see, you had the opportunity for 22 years to be on the end of seeing someone dealing with their results of their actions. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And when it get real for them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, can you speak to like the psyche of dudes when they first transit, when you get jammed up and you come in and you get sentenced and now you here. Like, you know what I mean? Because I feel like that, you know, when you run in the streets and doing what you do, and then when it get real, when you gotta sit down for real, you not the same. A lot of times they're not the same person they was when they was free.
And people ask, how long does it take for it really to kick in? It really starts the moment they put the handcuffs on. You start having regrets from that moment right then. You know, like when people start applying for clemency and parole, they say they want you to be remorseful. You are remorseful from the moment you get caught. You wish you wouldn't have done it. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, you wish you would not have done it from the moment you get caught.
Do you wish you don't done it, or you wish you didn't get caught?
See, that is different.
Yeah.
You wish you wouldn't have got caught, and you wish you wouldn't have done it. It's both. Mm. So first you play the blame game. Now they tricked me up, man. Somebody told on me, oh man, if this would have happened, he would have did this, we would have never got caught. Mm-hmm. But when you sit down by yourself and you have to deal with the fact, man, I did this right here and it got me in trouble. Mm-hmm. And then you deal with the court system, sometimes you're scared because you don't know what you're going to get. Mm-hmm. But you have to put this image on. You have to put this in, whatever. You have to put an image on. You can't be in an environment like that and you're emotionally vulnerable. You can't do it.
Can you still see it though? Like, I mean, when you...
Hell yeah, you can see it.
So you can tell when they putting on the front to try to act or play the part.
The only one that does not put on the act are the guy that's really fucking crazy. Yeah, like these real loud lunatics. Yeah, like these motherfuckers need to be inside the system.
Yeah.
You really have those kind of guys. Like these dudes like really they don't really give a fuck. Like they don't care.
Yeah.
In there, out there, they don't care. But you have the most guys that come into the system, they care. They just don't know how to get out of it. So you play the blame game for a while. It was everyone's fault but yours. Mm-hmm. Then when you're by yourself, you miss your mother, you miss your children, you miss your girl, you miss your clothes, you miss the ability to go eat what you want to eat in your house. Mm-hmm. You miss all these things. But you can't walk on and be like, yo, bro, man, I missed it. You can't say that. You have to put on this fake-ass exterior and act as if whatever.
Because if not,
you might get preyed upon. So you put on, listen to watch what I just said. A lot of scared-ass dudes that are heartbroken, acting tough, and if anyone else acts vulnerable, they get preyed upon. But everyone's in the same mental and emotional state except for the lunatics. So eventually, someone comes along, because it differs from jail to jail, prison to prison. Mm-hmm. Someone comes along. This guy from the street is a certified tough guy. Mm-hmm. He really is that guy on the street. Mm-hmm. He do what he do. He comes in and he like, bro, man, I miss my girl, man. Now, dude, like, the fuck? Like, yo, bro, I Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Let me just say I miss my girl. So they're like, shit, me too. See, that one guy right there came and made it cool to be vulnerable.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they consider being vulnerable keeping it real. Like, yeah, man, I miss mine too, man. Yeah. We might sit down and have a whole discussion about how much we miss everything and everyone. But it took someone to come along to make it socially acceptable. So we have programs like some of the guys and myself over the years, man, we've been implementing programs in different places where we do things just like that. We'll call guys together, sit around talking about nothing, but we have an aim. The aim is like to get guys to start talking about the thing that really bothered them. Mm-hmm. Because this is how you resolve issues in the housing unit. Yeah. You get guys to let stuff off their mind. Mm-hmm. And we don't call it being vulnerable. We just call it keeping it real. Just open up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
But you have to do it you have to be very careful in the approach. Yo, man, what's on your mind, man? Like, anything on your heart? You can't ask nobody no shit like that. You have to be very careful how you approach guys.
Yes, it's almost, I mean, I understand it because I grew up, I never been to the system before, but I grew up around a lot of institutionalized people. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I did pick up from them, some of that same logic, bro. Mm-hmm. Like and that shit is just sad though, man, because as I get older, I start learning the value of just talking about shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you was able to just talk about it, like, you could avoid so many pitfalls or so many bad decisions if you're able to just converse with somebody.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Just talk about what you're really going through and not hiding it. Because then when you hide it, you go displace it somewhere else.
Right.
You get in the streets and do something wild because you're running away from something. You know what I mean? You're running away from handling whatever issue. But if you had that person to just talk to you, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because I was 16, and dudes I was around like 28, 30 years old. So they've been in jail all since teenagers. And they would always pull me to the side and try to have these real conversations with me. And I tapped back into it and like, damn, I appreciate them for that part, because they was like, make sure you okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
don't be scared to say, if you scared, say you scared. It's all right. It don't make you soft to say you scared. Like, you know what I mean? That was something they always like, listen, bro, if you scared or you, whatever the case is, don't be pussy about your emotions. Like, you know what I mean? They frame them to me like, yo, you soft by even expressing yourself.
Discovery Houston, press to ATO.
If you scared or you, whatever the case is, don't be pussy about your emotions. Like, you know what I mean? They frame them to me like, yo, you soft by even expressing yourself. Because, you know what I mean, if you don't express yourself, nobody gonna know how you feel. Nobody gonna know how to treat you. They're gonna treat you however you allow them to treat you. And they're gonna keep on doing that.
Unorthodox Haven Podcast.